Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Eau Claire. I'm the Reverend Virginia Wolf, Minister Emerita, and this is Sunday morning meditation. This morning, in preparation for our service at 10 o'clock, we will meditate and reflect on basic goodness. The service will be about the basic goodness of every human being. Our meditation time about the basic goodness of life and death. I have chosen Mary Oliver as our priest for this pilgrimage. The one time I met this truly great poet, I said to her that I think of her poetry as scripture. I shocked her, but regardless of her denial, I still see it that way. And I also see that the great miracle of her poetry is how it evokes the beauty, mystery, and essential goodness of existence without denying its suffering, difficulty, and brokenness. Let's light our chalice to the words of Mary Oliver's poem, Don't Hesitate. If you suddenly and unexpectedly feel joy, don't hesitate. Give into it. There are plenty of lives and whole towns destroyed or about to be. We are not wise and not very often kind, and much can never be redeemed. Still, life has some possibility left. Perhaps this is the way of fighting back, that sometimes something happens better than all the riches of power and in the world. It could be anything, but very likely you notice it in the instant when love begins. Anyway, that's often the case. Anyway, whatever it is, don't be afraid of its plenty. Joy is not made to be a crumb. Today, I intend to read 7 of Oliver's poems, provide some silence for reflection after each, and then comment briefly on why I chose it. But before I begin, let me say that I've tried to arrange these poems as they reflect what I perceive to be the direction of Oliver's life and understanding from the journey to when death comes. So let us begin with the journey. One day you finally knew what you had to do and began. Though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice, though the whole house began to tremble and you felt the old tug at your ankles. Mend my life, each voice cried. But you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do, though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations, though their melancholy was terrible. It was already late enough and a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones. But little by little, as you left their voices behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a new voice which you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save. This is one of Oliver's darkest poems. I relate to it because I too come from a dysfunctional family and found it difficult to escape their need and grasping. Perhaps many of you also relate. Dark as it is, the poem moves toward release and discovery of the self and the wisdom that you can only save yourself. Notice that salvation is a journey deeper and deeper into the world. The second poem, this is kind of a long one. It's called Dogfish. Some kind of relaxed and beautiful thing kept flickering in with the tide and looking around, black as a fisherman's boot with a white belly. If you asked for a picture, I would have to draw a smile under the perfectly round eyes and above the chin, which was rough as 1,000 sharpened nails. And you know what a smile means, don't you? I wanted the past to go away. I wanted to leave it like another country. I wanted my life to open and close and open like a hinge, like a wing, like the part of a song where it falls down over the rocks, an explosion, a discovery. I wanted to hurry into the work of my life. I wanted to know whoever I was alive for a little while. It was evening and no longer summer. 3 small fish, I don't know what they were, huddled in the highest ripples as it came swimming in again, effortless. The whole body, one gesture, one black sleeve that could fit easily around the bodies of 3 small fish. Also, I wanted to be able to love, and we all know how that one goes, don't we? Slowly. The dogfish tore open the soft basins of water. You don't want to hear the story of my life, and anyway, I don't want to tell it. I want to listen to the enormous waterfalls of the sun. And anyway, it's the same old story. A few people just trying, one way or another, to survive. Mostly I want to be kind. And nobody, of course, is kind or mean for a simple reason. And nobody gets out of it having to swim through the fires to stay in this world. And look, look, look. I think those little fish better wake up and dash themselves away from the hopeless future that is bulging toward them. And probably, if they don't waste time looking for an easier world, they can do it. I think this poem reflects the next part of her life, wanting to escape the past and get on with her life. She sees her life as the same as others, recognizing that nobody gets out of this life without having to swim through the fires. And that learning to love goes slowly. Her conclusion is that we can live if we don't waste time looking for an easier world. In this poem, we see Oliver using the technique that identifies all of her later work. She carefully evokes the natural world in all of its beauty and terror in the picture of the dogfish and the 3 little ones, about perhaps to be eaten, and draws from it wisdom for human life. The third poem is Blackwater Woods. Look, the trees are turning their own bodies into pillars of light, are giving off the rich fragrance of cinnamon in fulfillment. The long tapers of cattails are bursting and floating away over the blue shoulders of the ponds. And every pond, no matter what its name is nameless now. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this, the fires and the black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it. And when the time comes, to let it go, to let it go. The last line of this poem the last lines are in our hymnal and are probably the most frequently quoted. Here, Oliver takes from the experience of autumn the lesson of loss leading to salvation, the understanding that we must love what will die, hold it dearly, and then let it go. Put so simply, her words capture the beauty, mystery, and goodness of a world that's permeated with loss. The fourth poem is a very short one called The Uses of Sorrow, and usually it's prefaced with these words aside from the poem. It's in my sleep, she says, I dreamed this poem. Someone I once loved gave me a box full of darkness. It took me years to understand that this too was a gift. The Uses of Sorrow tells us that suffering is a gift, much as have all of the world's religions. From it, we can learn and grow. It's not a part, but integral to life and its blessings. This poem sounds very Buddhist to me. The fifth poem I've chosen is Wild Geese. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about your despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscape, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. Here, Oliver sees in the wild geese that goodness is not about the torturous rituals of religion, but is merely our natural capacity for love and for recognizing our place in the family of things. We are not alone, but embedded in an interdependent web. The sixth poem is The Summer's Day. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? The grasshopper, I mean, the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down in the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I've been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Here, Oliver celebrates the world in one of its smallest forms, a grasshopper, and identifies the spiritual practice by which she does so, paying attention. Many define love as the act of paying attention. In the summer day, she sets this celebration of life in the context of some major theological questions. Who made the world? What is prayer? And what should we do with our lives? The answer to all three questions is love, or pay attention. The last poem, When Death Comes. When death comes, like a hungry bear in autumn, when death comes and takes all the bright coins from his purse to buy me and snaps the purse shut. When death comes, like the measles pox. When death comes, like an iceberg between the shoulder blades. I want to step through the door full of curiosity, wondering, what's it going to be like, that cottage of darkness? And therefore, I look upon everything as a brotherhood and a sisterhood. I look upon time as no more than an idea, and I consider eternity as another possibility. And I think of each life as a flower, as common as a field daisy, and as singular, and each name a comfortable music in the mouth, tending as all music does toward silence. And each body a lion of courage and something precious to the earth. When it's over, I want to say, all my life, I was a bride married to amazement. I was the bridegroom taking the world into my arms. When it's over, I don't want to wonder if I've made of my life something particular and real. I don't want to find myself sighing and frightened or full of argument. I don't want to end up simply having visited this world. This poem about death is perhaps Oliver's most vivid and comprehensive expression of her love for this world. In her words, I was a bride married to amazement. I was a bridegroom taking the world into my arms. For her, death is simply another part of life, something else to be curious about, full of wonder. Let's extinguish our chalice with Oliver's last words in Blackwater Woods that seem to sum up what she has to say in all of her poetry, and let these also be our closing words. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes, to let it go, to let it go. Go in peace. Thank you for coming today. Our service begins at 10 o'clock. I hope to see you there.